Welcome, everyone, to Fountains of Truth. This is your host, JC. We have Keith and RL in the house. How's everybody doing?
What's up, everybody? What's up?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
I'm ready for this. You ready? I mean, we're going
Oof.
to start just pouring a lot of truth out. But before we get started, I just want to say, did you know that 3 years ago on this day, well, not this day, but 3 years ago, this was our last normal week and nobody knew about it?
Oh shit.
Isn't that
Okay.
something to think
Well,
about?
That
somebody knew
is.
about it.
Well, we didn't know about
Right,
Or
it.
right.
somebody's knew about it.
Yeah. I thought
Right,
that was
right.
great. Get to reflect on like, okay, what's going on in the world and what was it like 3 years ago, right?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know I was a completely different person. You know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but wow.
I had short hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Truth. Yeah.
yeah. That's when I started growing my hair out. Was COVID.
Really? That's
And
interesting
yeah, and
because
I have not cut that shit since.
that's beautiful. The reason I
Yeah.
that's funny, man. Just synchronicities, dude. Like the reason I don't know if you guys remember I had the big beard, right? Like I told myself that I wasn't going to shave the beard, and I didn't shave, and I didn't cut my hair either, actually, until COVID was over. You know what I mean? And I know people still think COVID isn't over, but like when I felt like, no, that's just done. I shaved the beard.
You
Nice.
know, that's fucking amazing to me that you said the exact same shit. But because I've said I want to cut my hair. This shit is annoying, right?
Right, right,
I mean, not that I'm like trying to be a martyr or anything. It's not about that.
right,
But
right,
what when you said that, it's like it's not over because it's never gonna be over because we've
right.
entered a new era of shit, right? Right? Like 9/11 was some shit,
Yeah.
right? JFK, the moon, all that was some shit. We've been in some shit that I don't think there's no return, right? Like
Nope.
So
I'm gonna
your
leave it
hair is
there
gonna go down to the floor basically is what you're saying.
pretty
Oh,
much.
if we
We're
kept
like,
growing that shit, man, I would have been Osama bin Sadhaguru Melpika. You know what I mean? Because yeah, no, you said I mean shit. That's some real shit because like you even brought up JFK and the moon. Like when these major events happen, like the world's never the same. So it and with our minds, like you think, okay, well, if the world's not the same after these major events, well, then these major events must be by design because they've altered the way the world looks, the way it acts, the way society looks and acts based on these, major so-called catastrophes or whatever you want to call it, you know?
They're the chapters of the story. They're the major, events that kind of have us shift our ways, like we've all shifted these last few years.
Right, right, right. Exactly. So then you got to like, I don't know, you got to ask yourself every time something like this happens. And obviously what happened 3 years ago was on a whole nother level of fuckery. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like anytime, anything that happens, you have to ask that question. Like, you know, was this what's the design behind it? What's the motive, you know? That's
For
kind of where we're
sure.
at.
yeah, and I think for a lot of people, like we could say COVID, right? Like that's cool. We can say whatever the fuck we want.
Always.
Always, yes.
We
So
are in the non-censoring mode. If we censored, that's on some social media shit. you know.
yeah, like COVID kind of showed you what was really going on. You know what I mean? Like it opened up your mind to, oh shit, like there's more to this than meets the eye, right? Like you start to question the system during COVID because of how fucking stupid it was, right? Like we laugh all the time going down the grocery store line. Oh, we're going the wrong way. We must turn around and go the right way.
I forgot about that. The arrows. I
Follow
forgot
the
about the
arrow
arrows.
on the
Dude,
floor,
how can
bro.
you forget? I was the biggest rebel going down all the freaking back ways and going, "Yep, I'm going the wrong way. Yep,
And
I'm
the
not wearing a mask. Yep."
and the looks people gave you when you were not compliant and you
Oh
went the
yeah.
other way. I'm like, to me, that's like, oh shit. Like, okay, you kind of seeing what's really going on. You know what I mean? Like how people's mindset and kind of where they are. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It just opened up my eyes. Like, there's some shit.
Well, you guys were ahead of it, like as far as from a seeing what the real, like what was really going on before me, because like while I was on my journey or whatnot, I hadn't put two and two together. Like I knew that there was something fishy about it, but I didn't know everything yet. You know what I mean? Like I this COVID basically was the precipice of me getting into health and getting into understanding how the body works and the terrain model and all this other shit. Like it led me down that path because like I had a family and a household that was scared of this shit. And I was like, you know what? If we're gonna put energy into this, I need to see what's really going on. And once I went down that rabbit hole and figured this thing out, it was like, oh shit, we've been duped, but it's okay. You know, it takes things like this to kind of, it takes major things like this to get us on the right path or whatnot. Um, but that's when you bring up the grocery stores. I didn't really go to the grocery store. Like my wife, she's the one who always went to the grocery store, so she probably dealt with that. And I mean, my wife, she would make us masks. Before we knew what was really going on, she'd make us masks, and we had our own personal masks and shit like that. But I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that kind of, they might not even be there yet. There's a lot of people I know that are spiritual, that are, searching for truth, that they're still not there yet. You know what I mean?
Right, right. It did
Yeah,
open up the eyes to a lot of people. Many people started awakening. Many people started questioning, started, asking those questions. And I'm glad, but people still are, people still are, what's the right word?
blind. uh,
I don't know. Like,
Dumb, deaf, and blind.
everyone's on their own journey, and they're going to be maybe a little bit behind, maybe a little bit ahead, etc. Everyone's just somewhere different, but this just brought out a huge kind of like a division, a separation of who knows what's going on and who doesn't. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
want to I want to say something before we even continue. It's like a fucking disclaimer because I'm hearing voices in my head to the extent of like Ariel, what you said, what I said. There is no judgment in this. Just because I say what I say and it's dumb and whatever, and if you feel like I'm calling you dumb, I'm not speaking to you. This is my opinion of a situation, right? Like
Right.
I respect anyone who makes a decision for their family to protect their family. If the vaccine is the fucking answer, that's your decision, right? It's not about that. So if you're getting emotionally triggered by any of the things that we say, it is not because we are attacking you. It is because there's something going on within you that needs to be addressed. And I just felt like that disclaimer needed to be pointed out because we're all about love, we're all about knowledge, we're all about sharing, but we got to keep it fucking real. This is the what is this? Fountains
Fountains
of
of
youth,
truth.
of
Truth.
truth, right?
Well,
Like
the truth will keep you
you
youthful.
can't
So I guess it
you
is
can't
youthful.
Very much
speak you
so.
can't speak truth and walk on thin ice. It's just it's
No,
not a good marriage, right? So
it's not.
disclaimer complete.
That's a good disclaimer because I have a very good feeling that we're going to be dealing with that a little bit, and that's okay because
Yeah.
Yeah.
we want to make things uncomfortable. We want you to walk outside or turn on the TV or look on your phone and get uncomfortable with what you see, because what you're seeing is a big fucking fabric cloth blank, whatever you want to call it, of bullshit. There.
Yeah, it's a veil, and we all have that veil. We've been conditioned. So we've been there, we've done that. We've ourselves have kind of come out of it going, damn, I got fooled, I got deceived. And
Bamboozled.
yeah, it makes you angry, but don't shoot the messenger. We're here just to help kind of raise the frequency, and to raise a frequency, the light needs to be shed on certain things that are kept in the dark, and that's what we're doing, is bringing those things up to the surface so that they can be seen and looked at, so that you do ask yourself the questions of, why am I doing these things? And just a better understanding of yourself, really. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
JC,
and
that's where you're gonna kill it, because you're also gonna hit people with the metaphysical aspect of this shit. You know what I mean?
for sure.
So everybody
Yeah,
out
that's
there, get
sacred
ready for
shit.
that. Yeah,
What'd you
right.
say?
That's sacred shit.
That
Yeah,
the
that's
deep
true.
layers.
So many layers. So we're going to talk about basically current state of affairs, like what's been going on. And since we brought up the fact that 3 years ago, this was our last normal week, let's talk about what's been going on, not just the last 3 years, but what's been going on lately because of the last 3 years, right? Everything is a ripple effect, and it's kind of been a drop and another drop and another drop, and kind of like the boiling frog, I should say. So, as
Poor
far as
frog.
current events, right? As far as current events, we're just gonna basically chit chat, see each of our point of views, and go from there.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Who gonna start?
Well, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as far as what's been going on? Let's say the Ohio train derailments.
Well, I mean,
That's one.
with us starting with COVID, I mean, that was honestly the foundation of all of this.
Hmm.
So like I want to take us a little bit back just for me personally. Like I remember I want to say around 2012, I used to go to this website called like I think it was like the Uncommon Truth or some fringe ass website that I somehow stumbled upon, and he would talk about like all these things that were happening at that time. And I think that's almost like I don't know if that's swine flu time or that's one of them fucking flus going on anyway. But
Right.
he's just talking about all these things that are leading up to this big thing that's going to happen. Everybody was just talking about this big thing that's going to happen. And then what happens is like everybody expects things to happen so fast that it kind of leaves their thought process, and they're like, oh, they talked about a big thing, that should never happen, and then voila, fucking COVID happens, right? And
And we
granted, it's
forget.
yeah, 8, 9, 10, maybe 15 years later. I mean, look, time is relative when we're looking at this, the entirety of what this truly means. So then COVID hits, and it's just like, okay, this is the beginning of a new world. And so when we look at today in the present, whether it be the derailments or whether it be the fucking big push for the big green push with the climate situation, or whatever the case, electric cars, all those different things, like it all lines up. You know what I'm saying?
They
So
pressed the
Yeah.
gas big time on that too.
Well, too,
yeah,
and I think in a lot of ways, like it's COVID caused the fringe to become stronger and deeper in their beliefs, right? Like the us's of the world, it caused us to go, okay, yeah, you like we know, like we questioned it, but now we know, right? But I think it had the opposite effect on the masses, right? The people that took the shot, the people that participated in the process and are still participating in the green movement and all this stuff, it strengthened their connection too, right? Because they did it for the people. You know what I mean? Because I ask myself all the fucking time, right? Like we know we believe what we believe, whether it's true or not, who the fuck knows.
right.
But if I took that vaccine, knowing what I know now, how would I justify that, man? Because I'd be mad as fuck,
Oh my gosh.
right? And in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. So what is my justification? And I always come back to, I did it. I did it because it was the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
That ideology is the same fucking shit they're selling you with the environment,
The smart
with smart
cities,
cities, with all this shit, digital currencies, blah blah blah, ease. It's
New
for your
World
benefit.
Order.
Woo.
That's interesting. That's a great way to put it too, because like with the vaccine, like they pushed this fear so heavy on people. Like, I mean, people were literally just, I mean, there's still people that walk around with masks on. Like I
Yeah.
see it all the time, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so people are still scared. And, there's people that are the first to line up, for booster number 17. You know what I mean? Even after all this information's out there showing you the ramifications and the negative things that could possibly happen when you take this. Right now, we don't even know what's going to happen 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's one of those things where they did what they want. They accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. They wanted about 70 to 75% of the people to get vaccinated, and that happened. And that also means that, maybe not all 75% were cool with it, because some people were forced because of their jobs, or some people were coerced. They didn't really want to get it, this, that, and the other. But even if you break that down, let's say 50% of the people literally wanted to do this and were happy with their choice at the time. Well, that's 50% of the people that were honestly manipulated by a false narrative.
Right.
So they know that they can do that. Okay, well, so now when we implement these other things that are on a much lesser scale, think about how easy it is to manipulate them into that, into getting an electric car, moving to a smart city, or whatever the next thing is. You know what I'm saying?
Digital currency. Yeah.
All of it, all
Yeah,
of it.
man. And it, as an individual who took it and who feels that way, right? Like, you don't. Nobody wants to go. Yeah, yeah. Admit the fact that maybe they made a poor decision. Right. Most people don't own up to that. Right.
Yep.
So again, it strengthens their willingness to follow along, because it's the message, right? It's the marching orders, so to speak,
Oh, well, and let me cut in. That's the ego right there, right? Because the ego doesn't want to be
coming from
destroyed.
fear.
Right. It has an identity. I am identifying as a person who follows the rules, who does things because I care for people, because that's the narrative, right? Not as if others don't care. Um, which I thought that was bullshit, but anyway. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's all just pushing people towards, again, that divide, because they don't want to lose their identity, and their identity is with the ego. The ego is, I'm right, I was right. It doesn't want to admit that it was wrong. That's just the ego. So again, it goes back to that divide, and you can just see that some are just holding on really tight, and others, they're questioning, and they're going through their whole dark night of the soul, I should say.
Yeah.
Many of them.
Yeah, and
And
sorry, man.
no, you're no go 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 go. Shit, I'm
You know
listening.
what trips me out, right, is that I grew up. If you grow up in the church, right, don't it
The
doesn't matter the
church.
denomination, the church. If you grow up in the church, right, what are you taught? You're gonna go to heaven when you die, right? You know how many fucking times I heard, "I cannot wait until I meet the Lord." Heard that my entire life growing up. I can't wait till I meet the Lord. Well, we were told COVID basically is Jesus on wheels, right? He's coming to get you, and you going you gonna go to heaven because you're gonna die from COVID if you
Yeah,
don't
right.
get a shot or whatever, or wear your mask, or wash your hands, or do whatever.
And that's where you see
And yet,
people's fears come up.
and yet, I feel like, from my perception over here where I live in the South,
Right.
that a lot of those same people were the scaredest people of the bunch, right? When I'm on some old, and this is my medical philosophize, right? Is that, what the fuck are we so afraid of? You know what I mean? Like, you think you can treat your body like shit for 30 fucking years and it's not gonna retaliate? You don't think it's gonna fail you? And then you get mad and want to run to the doctor and have them pump you full of shit, right? Like, we have to understand and take care of our body and treat it the way it deserves to be treated. And if and whatever fucking happens, right? Like, that's how I feel about it. If I find out
Yeah.
I got cancer tomorrow, peace the fuck out. I'm gonna die of cancer.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Cause
No,
what
son.
that's the
Don't
way I
don't
feel.
don't say it that way.
No, no, not even say it that way. Nah, that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah,
but
yeah, but
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
like
Not
he
cancer,
wouldn't.
of toxicity.
Right,
All right.
right,
right,
right.
right, right, right,
I,
right, right,
but
right.
my point is
Yeah, I
You
got
this:
wouldn't
you.
you wouldn't continue down that path. You would change everything about your
every
lifestyle.
every fucking thing, every fucking area of our life is performance based. You make a decision, you either reap the reward, or you don't. But with our health, it's somehow fucking different.
Oh yeah.
Like, and the same thing with religion, man. COVID's here. I'm about to meet Jesus. Let's go. Church should have been full of people celebrating
Right.
that they were gonna meet Jesus.
They're gonna
So
meet
that shit's
Jesus.
crazy to me.
It's about like justification. So all those people, 75% of the people who got jabbed, they're They're going to look for whatever gives them the justification for that decision. It doesn't matter how many articles come out, how many movies, documentaries, how much information comes out, how many VAERS reports comes out, how many people, testimonials talking about all this different shit. It doesn't matter because they're going to look for the justification of what they did, and that justification is out there. Unfortunately, in the information age, there's
Yep.
justification for anything. Like I can justify right now why I should go outside and just pick up some grass and dirt and eat it, right? Like I could find something that says, you know what? That's probably right. Shit, there's justification for people drinking their own piss. And I'm not here to hate on that. Some people think that's healthy and that's cool. That's your prerogative. But, that's the issue that you have is that justification. That's why there's always going to be that divide because unless you take the time to actually come up with your like own answers and philosophies on stuff, then you're always going to have a justification for whatever somebody's telling you. If your doctor's telling you should get jabbed, if your doctor's telling you should get chemo, right? You have that justification. Well, shit, my doctor said it. That's the authority. That's Jesus. The doctor is Jesus.
Yo, yo, I'm so glad you said that because and that's where again the disclaimer, right? Like I've never felt like I knew the truth. I've always questioned. I feel like I know more of the truth now than I ever have in my entire life, and you can't take that from me, right?
Yeah.
And if that offends you, I'm sorry because I remember I was once there. I was once in a position where if someone offended me, right? Like I don't I'm just not worried about it. And I don't you don't offend me. Like ever notice the people that are full of fucking truth, that know the truth, don't get offended because they understand, right?
Mhm.
Getting offended isn't part of the process. I mean, it's a part of the process of growth, but once you know your truth, you can't disrespect someone else's
Yeah.
because
That's
it's
true.
because you understand what it's like to know it. You feel me?
Yeah, that's deep.
And if you're pissed off because of what I'm saying, it's because you don't know your truth,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And that's a you problem, not a me problem.
And
Yep.
that's usually because people are following along and not really experiencing things for themselves. That's how you really you experience it, then you know. But instead of experiencing, they're just hearing it through the
Mm.
grapevine.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So, like, when you look at today and everything that's going on today, like most people, okay, so they're not going to put two and two together. The train derailments per se, right? And I
Right.
did, I did that short little presentation in the QE Academy about that, just kind of showing how you can easily. And I did that in like I didn't spend much time on that. Like it was easy for me to connect those dots. I just put up a few things, showed you a couple videos, talked about some different things in place, and showed you how easy it is to see what's being put in place. With these train derailments, and there's even more happening. Like every day now, train derailments happen. Don't get me wrong; they
Right.
happen a lot, about 1,200 a year. But in this manner, they do not happen. It is not
With all
normal.
these chemicals, no.
Exactly. Exactly. And I look, just and this just popped in my head. It was a couple weeks ago. I think it was the day after President's Day. No, it was President's Day. What is that? February 19th or some shit. I come home and I had just spent the night in Oklahoma. And I come home and I look in the sky and I see chemtrails everywhere.
Mhm.
Everywhere. And I said to myself, and it's probably intuition mixed with fucking truth. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
intuition mixed with a lot of fucking time I put into this stuff. I'm like, they're pumping out shit. People are going to get sick. That's the first thing I said is like, people in my area, where these chemtrails are, they're going to get sick. There's going to be some type of sickness going around. Lo and behold, the next day, my stepdaughter's sick. Somebody that I have at the 9 to 5 is sick, and a few other people are sick. And they all live obviously within this area. So I'm just like it's everything is right in front of you and it's happening, but people are so conditioned
Yeah.
to these other these other
Narrative.
systems, yeah, and narrative systems and narrative that like it doesn't even register to them. You know what I'm saying? But it's really easy, and once you actually start to ask those questions and really to do your due diligence and stuff, it's like, oh wow, This is easy. This is like 2 plus 2. This isn't like long division. This isn't like calculus. This isn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really elementary when you really add it up. And that's what's kind of
I
crazy.
think that's why they think everyone's crazy, because they're like, there's no way. It
Right.
can't be that simple. You mean just work out and eat right? What?
Right.
Is
Yeah.
it really that simple?
But
Overcomplicating.
they put that system in place. Like because and you just talked about this, Keith. Because the idea of health is put in place that it doesn't really matter what I eat. I can just maybe work out a little bit and then get on medicine, modern day medicine or whatnot, or take vaccines, and I'll be okay. Since that was already put in place, that ushered in the ease of COVID, because once COVID came in, they weren't shutting down Burger King and Popeyes. Those were considered essential. You got to have fucking you got to have your
Gotta have
burger, you
it.
got to have your chicken, you got to have KFC. That's essential. You know what I'm saying?
But
They
not
didn't
the
shut those
gyms.
down. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't shut that shit down. So they weren't telling everybody that they need to eat this much fruits, this much vegetables, greens, take your vitamin, whatever the case may be, whatever whatever. They didn't tell them that. No. They said, look, you stay your ass home and we'll open up the essential shit to make sure you get your fucking Burger King value meal. And then once this vaccine come out, though, you're good. It's like a clean slate.
No, once the vaccine comes out, then you get free donuts.
Well, dude,
Right.
what's cool is that
I
like
mean, health.
I feel like how you one of the aspects of knowing that some shit is bullshit is the hypocrisy, right? And you just described perfectly hypocrisy. Earlier, you're talking about the environment. We're talking about the environment, right? There are literal laws going into place. Like in California, they cannot sell gas cars after some odd year, right? Cannot purchase a gas car after
26,
some
I
odd
think.
year. So decisions are being made on your behalf now. So whatever for the environment, right? But yet in Ohio, some shit happens. It's been dubbed one of the biggest environmental since what Chernobyl. I'm not
Yeah.
making this shit up, right?
Mm-mm. No, you're right.
Like this is one of the biggest environmental catastrophes, and nobody's talking. I mean, barely anybody's talking about it.
Right.
But that's the fucking environment. Like that's the thing that you're putting laws in place to protect, but yet nothing to see here. Moving on.
Well, that sounds
Keep
just
it
like
moving.
the big shots going on their big planes with their limos and going to a climate change fucking meeting. You
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean? It's kind of the same thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
hypocritical.
yeah, but that hypocrisy is exactly what you're talking about, RL, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And it's also the pattern, right? Because of of a derailment. And again, I don't know about environmental science and river basin systems. I know what I've heard and I've done a little bit of research. I'm not a fucking professional, so don't judge me on this. But like you said, you feed them Burger King, you get them sick, a sickness comes, it affects you even more,
Nope.
right? You poison the food, you poison the water, albeit how minute, you still are affecting the system of the masses and making the health system more important to our lives, right? To fix the problem that was created. And that's the cycle, right?
Well,
And
Exactly.
it's the
that's
whole
the
cycle
hypocrisy.
of creating a problem and then coming in and saying, "Hey, we have the problem and we're gonna solve it. Come join this new world order."
I
It's
mean,
the same thing.
fuck
Yeah.
it, current events, right? We can send how many fucking billions of dollars to Ukraine? I mean, there should have the whole fucking country. I mean, you ever see the power go out when there's a hurricane, man? There's like 100 trucks lined up to go fix the power. The same fucking shit should have happened in Ohio when the shit went down. It should have
Right.
been all available resources converge on Ohio and fix this fucking problem.
No,
Nothing
it's
to
just
see.
like
Let's just light it on fire.
the water in Flint, Michigan. That situation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like and those people there that were consuming that toxic fucking water for years are going to be dealing with that for years to come. And just to talk about not, and we will never get into politics on this show, I'm pretty sure, but we will definitely pull back the layers on it and let you know how bullshit it truly is for
The
all the people
puppets.
that love Mr. Barack Obama, and not singling him out because they all fucking suck and they're all puppets. But people want to look at him like, man, if we could just have a president like Obama back, everything would be great. This
From the outside looking in, I mean, just based on if you were going to look at him compared to what we have now,
right.
I can see why they would say that,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because
because
if you look at the comparison,
well, at
but
least he can
again, that's not
speak.
looking at right. At least he can speak exactly and can think.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
a little bit. But basically, it's down comes down to the layers. Like there's so
Yes.
much many more layers to it. So, we can see one side of the story.
For sure. But like with Flint, Michigan, he came there and acted like it wasn't even a big deal. He was making jokes. This motherfucker was throwing around, here, I'll give you guys a water bottle
Yeah.
here, there, acting like, I'm the president, no compassion, no empathy, just, hey, I'm gonna make my appearance and
Yeah.
I'll be on my way.
Who controlled the water in Flint, Michigan?
It's the mayor, I believe.
The government,
Well, yeah,
right?
no doubt, no doubt.
Who told you had to take a vaccine or you're gonna get fired?
The
The
government.
government. The same fucking people, man.
Guys, government to govern the mind.
Yep.
Meant being mind, govern being to govern. So there you go.
Very true. Very, very true. And there's just so many layers to it. And with the train derailments, vinyl chloride in the fucking air, in the fucking water in Ohio. Was it the Ohio River, Mississippi River? I'm not sure. A river that basically provides water for like 5 or 6 different states. Like, this is real
Big
shit.
deal.
But you don't hear too much about it. You don't really hear much of it at all. And it's really sad. But you hear shit like fucking Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox broke up. You know what I mean? Like that's what you
Are
hear.
you serious?
Yeah, dude.
That's real? That happened?
Real,
Oh
bro.
damn.
I know, man.
I don't even know
Us
who that
dudes with
I
is.
know,
man
right?
buns, bro. We all started crying, dude.
Yes, sir.
I just do not keep track of like current songs, just anything current that's there to distract you. I just can't.
It's all
Yo,
it is.
you ever notice on your Instagram that it kind of ebbs and flows? Like I used to get dad jokes and pictures of little pigs and puppies and shit. It was like my Instagram. That's all it was. And it was so much better than the Flint, Michigan situation, than the,
Mm,
Palestine, Ohio situation,
mhm.
than this, that, and the other, which is what I'm primarily getting now, right? And it makes me angry. It makes me frustrated. Does that
Does
happen to
then
you?
don't it, yes, I used to follow stuff like that more. I still do, but now I don't follow as many pages that are about that because I got tired of feeling that way. So it was a little balance of, okay, let me at least know what's going on and at the same time some self-love, some self-care, some coaching, some shit like that, you
Yeah, I
know?
mean,
So
you want to talk about mind control, talking about the government, right? You talk about some shit around your phone on Instagram, it
Mm.
comes up, right? Without fail. What you discuss things, more fitness shit comes up. Mind control. Come on, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it's insane.
It is.
And it's like, why would they do that? Like we went to the museum the other day, right?
oh yeah.
And there was a nice Roman Catholic section of the museum. And one of the little things said, well, the Catholic Church had to assert its power, and this was from like 1600 to 1700. And it didn't. It said a little bit, but the point is, it had to assert its
Mm.
power.
Assert.
Now, if the Catholic Church did it in the 1600s, you think they stopped? You think
Nope.
they just said, no, we don't operate this way anymore. We're not going to do this. We're not going to assert our power. Come on, man.
Yeah, people
Right?
don't realize that
It's still
like
going on.
everybody is in debt to the fucking Pope, like to to Vatican City. Like
Oh
Vatican City
shit.
is its own fucking city. They got their own bank. They got like it's a whole entity. It's a whole corporation, and everybody fucking owes them. Jordan Maxwell will tell you that. Oh, he won't tell you anymore. Rest in power, Jordan Maxwell. But go watch some of his old videos. He'll break that down for you. But
For
yeah,
sure.
man, it all funnels to the same place. A lot of it funneled to the queen in that empire. I guess it's the king now. And that's another thing. Queen Elizabeth dies, and you've got and look, we're all spiritual people here. We don't wish death upon anybody. You know what I mean? But to sit here and have people that have never met the queen, have no association with the queen, but yet are crying or feeling a certain kind of way about the queen not truly understanding what she represented. Like, say what you want, maybe she was a nice person on camera, but what she represented, the power that she yielded, not just held, but yielded, is enough to, I mean, make her like a villain in a James Bond movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not a good person. That empire is not good. You know what I'm saying? That whole ideology is not good. But people are just so conditioned to think, probably through Disney and shit, oh, queens, princesses, all that shit, that, just conditioned to think that, oh, that's just a way of life, that's just their way of life. And that's,
But
they accept it.
think back to when we were not awakened, like when we had not really started to peel that veil, and we were just as distracted and conditioned as everyone. And we watched the half times in the Super Bowls, and I remember back then when we were all about all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden, I think it was 2012, it all changed. um when we were like that, though, like
Oh yeah, there's no faking the funk.
we
Yeah.
didn't really pay attention, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think anything of the queen, like, oh my god, she's amazing, I'm gonna cry. But I also didn't think anything bad because I didn't know,
Yeah.
right? So it really comes down to when you start to open your eyes, when you start to really see things for what they are, then you start seeing both side of things. You might have seen, oh, okay, the good side, but what about the bad side? I mean, this is duality. There's always two sides to everything. And so
Yeah.
we're so used to being distracted and, oh, eating my ice cream. And you don't see the fact that the ice cream is causing you inflammation. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
acne, or, the dark side of the stuff, right?
Hmm.
So we're just here to basically shed that light again. Like, it's duality. It's duality. And I just think people haven't seen it yet.
It's a, it's an empowerment thing, because I was there. Yeah, I was there too. Like I said, right around COVID, like, from a healthcare standpoint, I was right in there. You know what I mean? I was right in there with them from a healthcare standpoint. And it opened my eyes to like look at the whole picture and see that, okay, not everything is as it seems. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
probably don't need to get a fucking flu vaccine or whatever the case may be. I mean, I probably don't need to go to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are
Yeah.
those are things that I came up, that I had to dig and find out about. And this is the only way you do it.
Dude, it's funny you say that, man, because in my own journey, like one of the things that I've realized over the last like probably 2 or 3 years, especially yeah, really since COVID hit,
Hmm.
is that when I switched to vegetarian and got rid of meat, right? I noticed a mucus decrease like instantly, right?
Yeah.
And it never
Right.
came back. It's never come back. And I noticed I got sick a lot less frequently, right?
Hmm.
And just recently, I've noticed that I pay attention to what I eat. And if I eat like shit, I immediately notice the symptoms of a stuffy nose, of waking up with phlegm.
Hmm.
Now, to me, and again, this isn't gloating. This is just to me, my journey, right? Respect that shit. Is that, is that if I eat pizza and I wake up with phlegm, then that's causality, right?
Hmm.
And if I don't eat pizza for another 2 weeks and then I eat it again and it happens again, then there's a connection, right?
Right.
And so I started to realize, man, that like when your body is clean versus when it's dirty, right? Like we've all had dirty rooms. The dirty the room gets, the less you give a fuck, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So your body doesn't give a shit. It's just operating at its best ability and it's detoxing by getting sick every so often and so whatever. But man, like the feeling of knowing how important eating is and how it can affect your health like directly and being so in tune with it that you notice it and just simply by being more mucusy, bro, what do I need a doctor for,
Right.
right? Like what's he gonna do, give me an antihistamine or some shit?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking
Yo,
Sudafed.
you're so right. I was talking to my friend on the phone, and he was saying how he was all sinusy and all stuffy, and I
Right.
said, "Did you have any dairy?" And he's like, "Ah, shit."
Right.
And he realized it, and so I was like,
Because
"Okay."
what's the doctor gonna do? I mean, let's think about this. This is the fucking establishment. You walk into it here, you call it snubby nose here, take this. Bye. No, the real fucking questions are: tell me about your diet. Tell me about this. How, do you exercise? What are your stress levels? Right? Doctors, if doctors did that, they would, to me, that's like you earn that 3, 400, 500,000, whatever it is you make in a year, because that's doing
Mm,
your job. Right. But the establishment is not set up for that. The establishment is a replication of McDonald's. Get you in, get you out, serve as many fucking hamburgers as we can and advertise it. Right. Because
yep.
what's quick for you is the most unhealthy for you, but don't worry about that. Right. Just keep eating. Right. The medical establishment has been set up the same fucking way. Right. And when you start down the journey of health and you start paying attention and you empower, like you said, that was a whole fucking point, is that when you empower yourself with the knowledge of self-care and you're so in tune with your body that you know what to eat and what not to eat, and you start listening to your intuition, like, hey, eat that watermelon, not the Twinkie, right? And you eat the watermelon and you know you feel good because you're in tune with your body and you're doing what it needs to do to operate at its optimal form. Yo, that shit is magic, man. But you can't. You have to want to walk the path. Nobody can give that shit to you,
I
right?
want
And
to know who the
that's
fuck is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm a bad.
no, that's it, man. That's it.
We're still getting our timing down, everybody. You know, it's the first podcast. Um, um, I want to know who the fuck's picking a Twinkie over a fucking watermelon, because that is. Go ahead and comment. Yo, drop us a comment or something like that's
My first
ridiculous.
thought was you wouldn't have a Twinkie and a watermelon in the same kitchen, like, right?
Yeah, I
I
don't
did when
think
I was a
so.
kid.
Oh,
I
really?
think I would
Okay.
have chose the Twinkie over the watermelon at 14.
Damn. You know what?
Damn.
Yeah, at that
Or ate
age, at that
both. Or
age,
ate both.
right, right.
Well, because
But
nowadays I'd be like, don't buy the Twinkie.
yeah, or Twinkies. Didn't they say like Twinkies last for like 70 years or some shit? So if there's Armageddon, make sure you got
Wow.
some Twinkies because they never go bad. I mean, think about that.
Wow.
Think about that. Um, and what you said, bro, like um about the establishment and the way it's set up. If you look at the systems, look how they're all set up the same. Like if you look at the healthcare industry, look at church,
Yep.
right? You got a pastor, you got a priest, you know, a sheik, whatever you know, whatever, and they're the authority figure, and you take their word almost as gold, and then you give your donations, and they take that donate. They're going to keep telling you these things because they want you to keep coming back and paying that 10% or whatever the tithes are, you know, over and over and over. It's the same thing. And then you look at the school and the education system, like the teachers and the principal; those are the authority figures, and then they don't want you to continuously question them. They want you to take their word as gold because they're teaching the minds of the youth and they're underpaid and all these things. And we need to respect our teachers. I'm not hating on anybody who's a teacher, but I'm just showing you how they're all synonymous because they're all set up to do the same thing, to control you eventually, because the education system is going to control, you know, what type of mind you have, which is obviously, you know, extremely important. What type of job you're going to have. You know, the healthcare system is going to control how long you're going to live. You know, the rate that you get sick and all that shit. And then, you know, you can even go to the damn justice system. Same
I
thing.
was about to say legal when you said the religion, and you go and you basically, okay, I asked for forgiveness and here's your repentance or whatever. And now you have to go do this because you've been bad. It's like you go to court. I did 75 and a 45. Okay. You have to pay this because you've been bad. It's kind of the same shit.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
exactly the same shit.
Well, and that's the another perfect example of the hypocrisy, right? They brought you in for breaking a law that they now will bend to meet your measure so that you can pay, get in, and get out, just like the cow that you are
Yep.
and that we are, right? We're all cows in this game.
Yep. And you get put in prison or any type of jail. You have a jail sentence or anything like that. Now it's free labor. You know what I'm saying? You've lost your rights. You don't have rights anymore. What the fuck you mean I got rights anymore? I'm sovereign. This is my world. You know what I'm saying? You're telling me I don't have rights. You feel what I'm saying? Like we've given them that power to where they can take everything away from us if they choose. And
Yep.
if that doesn't scare you, anybody out there listening, if that like that doesn't click in your head, you know, if that doesn't make you think, oh shit, maybe I should, look at this stuff a little bit closer. I don't know what will, because like we're
Well,
talking about your livelihood.
yeah, but sometimes people go, "Well, what can I do about it? They're so big. This is a huge
Mhm.
system. What can me, myself, and I do about it? There's nothing I can do about it." And I hear that a lot from people, but it's like,
That's bullshit.
yeah, it's
You could
Yep.
bullshit.
shine that light because that's the whole
Exactly.
fucking point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's somebody else out there going, this is bullshit.
Yep.
Right? It's like the goofy dude that gets up and dances first, right? And don't give a fuck if anybody's watching him.
Right. Right.
10 minutes later, the whole
The
floor is
whole place is
packed,
just.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And it's the same thing, man. It's like you just have to shine your light and shit'll take care of itself because there's plenty of people in the world that want to change the world. They
Hey,
just feel like that. They just feel like they're all alone.
it might not happen in your lifetime,
Right.
but
But it will.
but
It's a ripple effect.
yeah, you have kids, and then the kids have kids, and you're talking about breaking generational curses and generational conditioned traditions and things like that, and generational indoctrination. Like this is powerful
Hmm.
shit that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Like passions and dreams are being formed because of what's happened, right? Hopefully to change the world and a good way, in a way that liberates people. And I think it's important, man. Like that's what it's about, right? Like that's what we're talking about is freedom, freedom to be sovereign, right? Like that's what we're all about. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
And that's what this whole conversation is about. So at the end of the day, if you disagree with any of this, we all want to get to the same point. We're just all on a different fucking path and a different fucking journey, but we all just want to be free and sovereign in love. That's all we want, man.
Love, peace, happiness, and freedom.
But they keep pushing, and they're just going to push this climate fucking crisis on us while the whole fucking country just froze this past week. Yeah, we got climate crisis. We got fucking blizzards and snowstorms in California and shit, but we got climate, we got global warming and shit.
And they really put turned up the heat on that one.
Ba-boom.
I keep saying stuff like that, but they did. It's like all of a sudden they stopped with, I think after COVID and then the Ukraine thing, they were like, "Okay, now let's do climate change." And they just like really, really turned up the heat there.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I saw an Instagram post and it was Plymouth Rock and it had it
Oh yeah,
had
I
it
saw it
had the
too.
number on it. And again, I didn't do my research. I don't have sources. But it showed a picture of the rock like I don't know what 100 years ago or some
And
shit.
it looks the same.
And today, and
Yeah.
assuming it's still today, it could have been the same picture. I get it,
Right. Right. Right.
but it just illustrates the point that I've been going to Miami with her for how long? 20 years,
20
Yeah.
and
something.
the same fucking hotel that was this far from the water is
Still
still
that far
there.
from the
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, like even the whole electric car push, they're all worried, worried about carbon emissions and all this shit. But like the same people that are worried and pushing that shit are flying fucking, Jetstream, G4s and shit that are pumping out more pollution than like a whole city's worth of driving. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hypocrisy.
Not to
exactly.
mention the batteries that it takes to run that and just the waste that's on that end.
Well,
Like,
here's another. Okay, a few things. Number one, and look, you just brought up sources and shit like that. This is based on minimal, research, but from what I've heard, is that electricity, like you need oil to build these fucking electric cars anyway. Like it all goes fucking hand in
of,
hand.
of
So
course you do.
yeah, so it's like, okay, like what's really going on? And then this is where the truth aspect truly comes in. And maybe we'll do a podcast on this at another time, but when you look at 5G, and look, there's a lot of retractors on it, but there's so much science, so many different experiments and papers written that are just getting completely ostracized and pushed away because they're not backed by certain corporations and whatnot. But like it's a real thing, because look, your phone is operated by radio waves. You know what I'm saying? And people hold their phones to their ears and they put them, on their chest or in their pocket or hold them on their lap or whatever the case may be. But I want people to think about this. Like a phone operates on radio waves, just like your microwave. Now, what does a microwave do? You put a piece of food in your microwave, it doesn't cook the food. You know what I'm saying? What it does is that the radio waves within that microwave basically boil the water in that food, and that's what makes it hot. That's how it can make it hot so fast. It
Oh, that's
basically,
why the smoke be coming out when you open the door.
yeah, man.
Oh man, that's
Right?
cool.
So
I didn't
so
know that.
think about this. So think about that. That's what the microwave is doing. So think about when you have your phone next to your head. Your
Mhm.
head is 93% water. Those radio waves are boiling the fucking water in your body, in your head. That's why, there's so many studies that associate cellular phones with cancer in different areas of the body and whatnot. So, like, those are the types of things you're not going to hear in the MSM and the mainstream media or the
Right,
narrative or
because they
anything
want
like
you to
that.
buy the wireless fucking ear pods that
Because
Exactly.
create
it
more
funds
radiation in
the
between your
system.
brain. Exactly.
It's all working together. It's all working together. But these are the type we just want to open everybody listen, we just want to open your eyes. You know what I'm saying? This is
With
gonna
just
be
a
about.
bunch of stuff.
Well, I mean, and straight up, I mean, it's a like we talked about a lot of shit. Like we can spend hours talking about each one of these individual topics, right?
Right,
Yes,
right.
In terms of
yes.
just spitting.
But that's what the podcast is for. So stay tuned to the for that because we're going to basically, narrow things down, get deeper into things. Right now it's just a summary of all the things that we think about and all the things that are going on right now. But yeah, that's what this whole podcast is for. A little bit of shedding some truth. And that's the water part, the
And
fountain part.
yeah,
Yeah, and
fountains
I want
true.
to implore for me and my own journey. So I can't say that enough, right? Is that the recognize the patterns, and the secret for me has been going back like at least 150 years and looking at the patterns of history
Mhm.
and how each thing has built upon the next. And I get it, but for me, that opened up the door to, okay, like I
I
get it.
see
I
it.
see the pattern. Like the
Yeah.
pattern is there. It's there. So, you look at the pattern. That would be my advice. If you're interested in this
See the
type shit,
patterns. See the
Hey,
see the
patterns.
pattern.
There's a movie called 222 and it's about seeing the patterns.
oh, I want to see
Check it
that.
out. Yeah, super
Um,
cool.
yeah, yeah. You patterns, bro. Like what did we talk about earlier? Elementary shit. 2 + 2 = 4. Like what's that shit? When we used to do like little workbooks, they have like a triangle, then a square, then a triangle, and then a blank space. Well, what's next? Well, it's got to be a square. It's the
Yep.
same shit that's
Yeah.
happening in your life right now. Put two and two together. Look at the patterns, add them up, and it's like, oh, okay. Now I fucking understand.
It
Keep
is
shit
not five.
simple. Legalese, all those like legalese, medical terminology, all the scientists and shit. They make this shit. They make this shit complicated on purpose.
Yeah, and I wanna call Joanna out because she's been such a good sport or a good person, and you can't don't judge her on this first episode. I wanna build her up a little bit. This girl is like just a walking metaphysical knowledge. All right, everything I've seen the faces she's made because I know you guys can't see us, right? But I've seen the faces she's made as RL and I kind of do our thing and kind of say the things that we've said, and she's sitting back like, man, y'all shouldn't say that. Y'all shouldn't say that. And she's taking a very vanilla road approach, and that's cool. I respect that. But just know she gonna bring the heat. She's got a lot to say,
Oh, I will.
and
I
she
will.
knows
But,
some
just
shit.
a summary of how everybody,
You're so
thinks.
Democrat. You're so like
She's a great
Democratic
host.
with your
She's a
answers.
great
You
host.
it's so good, man. I love it.
Hey, balance is key. That's all I got to
Duality,
say.
right?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
And right now it's the triplicity. We got the trio, what
The
is this
Trinity.
called? The
The
Trinity, exactly. Um going on. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in and listening to us. This was great. You
fun.
guys had fun?
Hell
Fun?
yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, awesome. So we will check you out next episode. We're out.
We're out of here,
Peace.
y'all. Peace.
Peace.